So you will see the title this morning is Feeling Frustrated. I tell you what, there are some days when you feel that anything that could go wrong is going to go wrong. And some days where people seem to think that things are easy and they're anything but. So I've been doing this podcast, and there are often challenges in doing this when things need to be edited and things aren't working right and I need to get advice. And I'll get onto that in a minute, but first of all, my day started as it does 3 mornings a week, where I went to my local pool, and I had just been doing aqua jogging. That's basically, you have a flotation belt around your middle that helps you sort of be stable and floaty and all that sort of thing. And that was just walking up and down, and it's exercising, even though it doesn't seem like it, exercising and keeping your joints moving, and that was really good for my back and for my knee when I had both those operations. I'm the queen of operations in this house, I tell you. So as is my wont, I went into my local pool this morning, and I have been practicing actual swimming, doing freestyle. Now, I hadn't been doing proper swimming, not aqua jogging, but proper swimming with the breathing and all that swimming entails. I hadn't done that for maybe 20 years, and so I'm trying to get back into it. Not that I was ever that particularly good, but I could manage to do a length or 3. So I've been doing that for the last month or so, and gradually starting to build up. But one thing that I'm really struggling with is the breathing side of things. So sometimes I forget to breathe out. Sometimes I forget to breathe in. Sometimes I breathe in a mouthful of water. Sometimes I don't. So it just varies from day to day. But I think I am gradually getting better. One of the things that I have done is I purchased myself from my favourite shop, Temu. Who needs to get out and about these days? You just get packages delivered to your door, and it's great fun. Sorry, hubby. So anyway, from my beloved Temu, I ordered some flippers. They're rainbow flippers, and they look pretty cool. And I find them really helpful because I've probably got a weaker kick than your average sort of person. I don't think I'm too bad, but there will be no doubt some unevenness in my kick. And having the fins actually helps me to do a reasonable kind of a kick and be able to move through the water more quickly, perhaps. So, as I said, I've been trying to get, for about a month now, to get the stroke right, the breathing right, and it's the breathing that's the main thing. And yes, my new flippers certainly help. So, one of the people that goes to the pool even more regularly than I do, I think they might even go every day, he was swimming in his lane doing breaststroke, and I was doing my version of what he calls the crawl. We call it freestyle. And so I was doing that, and we met at the end, and he started to give me some advice. And he talked to me about rolling on my side, and he talked to me about how often I breathe, and da-da-da-da-da, all these sorts of things. And I nodded and smiled, and I said, yeah, okay. I said, look, I do find it a bit hard when I get too much information at once that I can't process it. So it's part of my condition. And he said, oh, yes. And he said, I just thought I'd try and help. I said, thank you for that. And then a few ends later, he comes up to me with another few pearls of wisdom. And I said to him, look, I know you're trying to help, but I find with my condition that, and he knows what that condition is, I don't have to use the P word. I know with my condition that I have more trouble processing information. And if I'm given too much at once, it just scrambles my brain. My brain goes into it freezes, goes into panic mode. It's like it stops and goes, not thinking now, not doing anything, nope. And then the next thing, it sort of wakes itself up and goes, what was I going to do next? Where am I? What am I doing? And it gets all flustered and fluffy. So, yeah, I was going into tailspin mode a little bit, but I was just saying to him gently that I found it overwhelming. Then we get to another end, and he says, maybe you would benefit from watching some of the others swimming. And I went, no, I wouldn't. Honestly, I just need to kind of figure things out for myself. Then right at the end, just before I left, he says to me, I hope I didn't upset you this morning. And I said, no, you didn't upset me. But just for your information, when I get too much information at once, it really isn't helpful for me. I said, I may go away and remember some of the things that you've told me this morning and think, well, I might try that one bit. Or I might try 2 things. Or I might watch some of the other swimmers. I don't know. But I need to process in my own time, in my own way, and throw out what I don't feel that I can do or I don't need, and keep the bits of information that I do need. So yeah, I just got a little bit frustrated this morning, and after he'd gone, I talked to one of the other ladies that I go to swimming with, and I said to her, the problem with Parkinson's is, well, there's many problems obviously with Parkinson's, but one of the problems with Parkinson's is that people see it as a movement disorder, which it very much is. And, luckily at this stage I don't have much in the way of movement problems, but I do have some sneaky little cognitive things lurking in my brain that I'm just putting the brakes on every now and again and not being helpful. So I said to her, the problem with people when they hear that you've got Parkinson's, they look at you and think, oh, you're doing all right, you're not too bad. And on the surface of it, yes, I am. And in many ways, yes, I am. But I said, that people don't see or understand the cognitive issues. Now, she's got a friend with Parkinson's, so she's got some idea. So I said, as an example, this is what I used to use when I was working with people with dementia. Because dementia in its early days is also like a hidden disability. So I said to this person that I was talking to, I said, dementia is a bit of a hidden disability in those early stages. And I had a couple of examples that I use. And the first one was, if you saw a person sitting at the bottom of a flight of stairs in a wheelchair and they wanted to get to the top, you wouldn't just say, up you pop, go on, up the stairs, come on. You wouldn't do it. It would be ridiculous. People would laugh at you. They might get angry. And, you're trying to get them up the stairs with lots of encouragement, but they are not physically able to do it, so it's a bit of a nonsense. I'm just trying to think of the second thing. Oh, that's right. The other thing was I met with a husband, and he and his wife had been into the farmer's store locally here in Christchurch. And it's got an escalator, a down escalator and an up escalator, of course. And he came to me very frustrated. He'd gone to the farmer's store with his wife. He'd got on the escalator just before her, and she was travelling behind, or so he thought. And then he turned round to see she was nowhere to be found. And he thought, where the heck has she gone? And he said to me, she hadn't got on the escalator. And I thought, what's the problem? She's been on this escalator thousands of times. And he couldn't figure out why she couldn't get on. And he said I had to go up the up escalator and hurriedly go and find her. And he says, I don't know what was happening. And she was a bit flustered, so we went down in the lift. And I said, getting on an escalator, I myself have always found them a bit disconcerting. I don't know, knowing exactly when to step onto them. But escalators in particular have a number of things happening. They've got the rail that runs along the top is constantly moving. They've got different coloured floors and made of different materials. They're going from a shiny floor in the shop to a sort of a stripy step that's moving and moving quite quickly. And all of those things combined is too much information for a person with dementia, and maybe even in some early stage people, maybe all that action going on is too much for them and their brain to process how and when or if to get onto an escalator. So yeah, I have been guilty of going to find the lift from time to time when I don't feel that my processing is as good as it should be. So yeah, I just felt really frustrated this morning because I was trying my best, and honestly, after we had these couple of conversations, I had at one stage during my morning swim thought that I was getting the hang of it. I wasn't too bad. And then the last time I talked to him, I had 2 atrocious lengths where I couldn't even complete the lengths. I'd forgotten to breathe, I forgot to breathe in, I'd forgotten to breathe out. My stroke went all to pack, and things just weren't going well. And I know for me, it's a bit like when I was getting back into playing bowls. Lots of kindly people giving me lots of kindly advice, but it actually had the opposite effect. It just confused my poor adult brain, and I just could not cope, and I was playing the worst bowls of my life. And like I said to this guy this morning about my swimming, I know for myself that I have to do things my way. Not my way or the highway, my way or my way. For me. I know other people don't have to do things the way I like them, but for me, I know me, and I am figuring out the me that's changing ever so gradually, and I need to work through these things for myself. And if I ask for help, then, please give it to me, but don't bombard me or anyone with Parkinson's with lots and lots of information all at once and expect us to manage. So the other thing I was going to say is I've done a blog since the beginning of 2021. I actually have done the podcast maybe a couple of years. I started a bit later on the podcast after I retired. And every now and again I use a program called Descript, and every now and again something will happen, something will go wrong, and I can't figure out what to do about it. So I've tried to work out things for myself and some of the problems that I've been having. And one of them was that I recorded an interview, which was a really good interview, with this guy about his journey with Parkinson's, and it was a great interview. But for some reason, we ended up in two separate tracks that I couldn't get together. And I've had email after email with somebody trying to help me, and there's bits of help here and bits of help there, but I still haven't been able to get it together. And I got my husband to help me with part of what he was suggesting, and feeling really bad because my poor husband, he has things that he wants to do on his day off, and he got tied up with all my frustrations. So sorry, hun, I'm at least as frustrated as you are, if not 10 times more, probably 10 times more actually, because I don't like asking for help in the first place. And my husband doesn't even know the program that I'm working with, so all power to him. He managed to do the things that needed to be done, but I'm still left not knowing how to do the tasks that I'm needing to do. So another email will be going off to the help desk, and this guy will wonder what the hell I'm playing at. Oh, another thing that's been frustrating today. In New Zealand, you apply for your superannuation at 65, but you can apply about 12 weeks before. And my husband and I had gone into what's Work and Income, Ministry of Social Development, last year to talk about some things that were happening with his benefit, and got some advice on when I could apply for mine, when I could apply for my superannuation. Sorry, my husband's not on the benefit, he's on superannuation. So we had a bit of a chat last time we were in there, and she gave me some advice and told me when I could apply. And so I have applied a week or so ago. I don't seem to have got any response from them to say that they've received it, so it's a bit frustrating. I would just like to know whether they've got it or not. I mean, I don't think there's a lot to ask, is it really? So I'll share with you some of my frustrations in a moment. So I sent her an email and I sent a text, I think, and I just asked her to help me out with this stuff. I said, can you assist, please? I recently applied for New Zealand superannuation, but I don't think I received an acknowledgement or anything. Could you please advise if my application has been received? Also, when would it start and how much will I be receiving? So that's not a lot to tax her, is it? So I just get back this one-line message: you will need to call, and she gives the 0800 number. Now, this frustrated me. Another frustration for today. Because why give me her card and say, if you need any help, call me, and then when you do so, she gives you the 0800 number. So this is what I said to her. Hi, you did give us your card and told us to contact you if we needed any assistance. I thought you might assist and spare 5 to 10 minutes of your time, rather than me having to wait 30 plus minutes to get through to your 0800 number. We both presumed you were open to assisting us, otherwise why provide your direct line? My practice as a social worker was to only provide my card to people I was open to contacting me. So assume the same when you gave us your card. So that's probably really pissed her off this morning. But yeah, why give somebody your card if you're going to turn around and go ring 0800? Very annoying. Very, very annoying. So yeah, me having a little bit of a whinge and a moan this morning about my frustrations. I've already vented a little bit to my husband, and now I'm venting to you. So yeah, life can be frustrating. People can see if you have physical issues, physical disabilities, but if your slowed up brain, your overtaxed brain can't cope with any more information and you're not taking it in, and then people turn around to you and say, I told you that earlier. And you sort of feel like saying, yes, but it was probably swamped by a whole lot of other information you also told me, and I only retained a fraction of it. So yeah, hidden disability. It's frustrating because if we were limping, people would give us a hand, but if our brain's limping along, people just get frustrated with us and think maybe we're being lazy or something. I have no idea. Anywho, on to bigger and brighter things. Going to see my daughter this afternoon, so that'll be lovely. So, yeah, have a good day, everyone. Kia kaha, be brave, be strong, be you.